All right, guys, well, welcome to an art business workshop. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts. I've been doing that going on, 6 years and change now, which means for the last 6 years, we've been working real hard on trying to solve the problem that everybody on this call has. How do you build a successful art and or photography business in today's day and age? Not an easy thing to do. In addition to that, I've been running 3 of these sessions essentially a week for the better part of a year, and as well as talking to several customers week in, week out. I don't think there is another human being on this planet that talks to more artists and photographers about their businesses and what they're struggling with on a week in, week out basis. You couple those two facts with, I think we have 57 and change 100 customers at Art Storefronts now, and we really seriously study the data of the ones that are doing great. Who's selling the most originals? Who's selling the highest price originals? Who's selling the smallest originals? Who's moving the most in terms of volume of originals? What about commissions? What about prints? What about metal prints, acrylic prints, paper prints, frame pieces? What about merchandise? Who's selling the most classes? Who's the best on Instagram? Who's the best on Facebook? Who's running the most sales in a given year? And you put all that together, and I do believe that we have, as an organization, and then me myself, some pretty unique insights into what is actually creating valuable art and or photography businesses. And let me tell you how in sharp contrast the actual people that are actually doing well is to the conventional wisdom out there. We can get more into that as sort of the presentation goes on. So agenda, some programming notes, and then we'll get into it. So what we'll do is I'll have sort of a quick presentation that I believe is sort of fundamental to believing how we do things here at Art Storefronts, how we view the market, how we view the business model, and some of the most important things. And sort of this whole argument presentation sits one step above viewing the software and the marketing program and everything that we do. It's why we do the demo process. The demo is no different than a test drive at a dealership minus the salesman. You get a touch and feel and taste everything and see things in depth. It's like an hour presentation. Our outreach team will find out about you and your business, what you're going through, what you're dealing with, what's working, what's not working, take a look at your art, get to know you, and then show you all the bells and whistles of everything that we do. Because those presentations are like an hour in and of themselves, it makes more sense to save those for the demo process. And it is a completely no pressure situation. If you request a demo and you talk to somebody and you're like, this isn't for me, they will never bother you again. I can't say the same for our emails. I know we email too much. I get that. We're pretty aggressive with those things. So you might have to unsubscribe from the emails. But if you do, you schedule the whole demo and you go through that whole process, and you can kind of figure out what we do, what makes us tick. But where I like to start these presentations is I sort of come up with this concept that I call, it's called the art selling pyramid, the art business pyramid, if you like, the art selling pyramid, I guess I called it. And, I call it the path to a successful art business in 2021 and beyond. And I stole the concept from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Not sure if you've seen this or not, but sort of the gist is, you have to sort the bottom blocks before you can move up to the next block, the next block, the next block. And so at the bottom of Maslow's is the physiological needs we all have as human beings. You have to eat every day. You have to sleep every day. Once that's taken care of, you got a food source, you got somewhere to sleep. Then you can work on safety, getting in shape and earning money and love, belonging, esteem, self-actualization, all that jazz. And so I've sort of taken that concept, borrowed from that concept, and created what I call the art selling pyramid. And the bottom block of the art selling pyramid is attention. And just like in Maslow's situation, it's a daily need. It is a quotidian need, no different than eating and sleeping. And what do I mean by attention? I mean eyeballs on your art, your photography. There's a bunch of different ways you can say it. There's owned attention and there's rented attention. Owned attention is what can't be taken away from you, i.e. email addresses, snail mail addresses, phone numbers. And then there's the ones that can be taken away from you, the rented stuff. Facebook fans, YouTube followers, Instagram followers. Collectively, it is attention, and it's the currency of the land. I know conclusively, without having a conversation with any of you, that if not 100%, 99.9% of you on this call have an attention problem. You don't have a create the art of photography problem. You have an attention problem. You need more eyeballs on your art or your photography. Otherwise, you're never going to sell any of it. And it really is the currency of the land. It is the most important thing. It's the biggest problem. And, I say on these calls all the time, sadly, your guys is a world, as it stands, as it's currently constituted in 2021, that to have a successful art or photography business, it is not a meritocracy on your talent. It's just not. Best art doesn't win. Best photography doesn't win. The best art or the best photography that gets seen wins. It is a meritocracy on the marketing. It is the meritocracy on getting attention to your art or photography, and those are the rules of the game right now. Stated another way, to take it out of our world of art, just to give it some teeth, and David's heard this before, but bear with me, David. You know, who are some of the most powerful women in the United States, if not the entire world? It's a bunch of different ways to answer that question, right? You know how I answer it? It's the Kardashians. Now, we can all argue how these Kardashian girls amassed this attention, but we cannot all argue on the size of businesses they have, the fact that they haven't flown commercial for the last 10 years. Stated another way, just to put the finer point on it, if any one of these Kardashian girls decided to start becoming an artist tomorrow or a photographer tomorrow, the first year sales of that business, even if it was stick figures on a canvas or an unframed photograph that was out of focus on an iPhone, would probably be $10 million in 1 year. Is that fair? No, it's not, because it is not a meritocracy on the talent, but it underscores how important, how fundamental attention is in today's society. It is the currency of the land that we live in. So that's the first block of the pyramid. And again, you have to focus on attaining more of it daily. It's the biggest problem that you guys all have. The next block in the pyramid is what I like to call, there's an outer portion and an inner portion. The outer portion of this one is the business model, and then the second portion is a collector list. Now, the business model, okay, is you have to be selling direct. You have to be selling direct, meaning there can be no one in between you and your customer base. You have to sell directly to your end customer, your end consumer, such that you retain the contact information to market to these people in perpetuity, okay? Such that you can build a collector list. Now, the collector list, number 2, that I originally borrowed from this book, Don't Be a Starving Artist. It's by Weiland. He's the whale guy. It is a great book. I'm going to put a link in the chat. I'm going to put, oh, I forgot to mention this part. I'm going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to show you videos. There are going to be links, and you can click on them in the chat as we go along. If you just want to chill and watch, I'm going to send you all of the links after the fact, plus a replay to the video. So don't feel like you need to watch. If you just want to listen, multitask, do whatever you like. Most people would say he's the best-selling artist in the United States, and it's not even close. Weiland, okay? In his book, great vibe, by the way, he talks about this notion of a collector list. And in Weiland's experience, a collector, he defines one as someone that will buy in upwards of 7 pieces of art from him during the course of his life, during the course of a lifetime. So you go along, you keep creating, you keep selling, the collectors come along for the ride with you, and your prices keep going up, and they just go along for the ride with you. And you know, I've been doing this for 6 years now, and I fundamentally see how important it is. Stated another way, you guys are all just commission salespeople. Yes, you can create the work, but then you have to go out and sell it. And if you do particularly well a certain year, then you're going to sell a whole bunch of it, and that's fantastic. If you don't, then you're not selling anything. So you're commission-based, right? A collector list essentially turns you into an artist that is a commission salesperson with a base salary, meaning you get paid $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 a year just for getting up and creating. And the way that works is you come out with a new series, and the series has 7 pieces in it, or 10 pieces in it, I should say. And you are going to announce this new series to the world on a Wednesday. On a Monday, you email your collector list and you say, guys, thank you so much for your continued patronage. I just want to let you know that I have a brand new series coming out on whatever, and I want to show it to you before anyone else gets to see it. And what happens is that your collector list buys some certain portion of that work before the public even gets to see it. This starts small, 10%, 5%, 2%, and it goes up and up and up. I've seen it go as high as 60 or 70% with some of our customers, especially on high-piece sales. We had a gal that had a sale not too long ago, 80 pieces, and her collectors bought 47 pieces before the sale even became live. So it's so incredibly powerful, and it's one of the biggest. I would go as far to say, if my job was to acquire art and photography businesses, I would come in, and the only metric that matters to me would be what size is the collector list, how well taken care of is it, and that will be indicative to me of how well the business is doing. And it's the #1 heartbreaker of everything that I've seen, because week in, week out, I talk to people in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, their 80s, sometimes even their 90s. They didn't understand the business model. It's not a condemnation to them. It's just how things were done. They didn't maintain a collector list. And as such, they have no one to automatically sell their art to, and they have to start building it from scratch. And, I know inevitably some of you fall in that bucket, and, it's tough. So the 3 ways to sell art. Once you are understanding that attention is the most important thing, once you are aware of the business model and starting to build and cultivate a collector list, then there's 3 ways to sell art. The best way, number one, and I should mention, I believe that every working artist or photographer that's serious about building a business needs to understand these 3 ways and needs to deploy these 3 ways when applicable. The best way, trick question, in person, face-to-face, always has been, always will be, never going to change. Problem with this particular way is you are geographically fixed on this planet. You have to sleep, and you're incapable of having 20 conversations at once. So the next way, of course, it's on your website. The website solves for all those aforementioned issues. The newest way, the way the entire art and photography selling world, let alone the whole world in general, is trying to figure out right now, is via live video, okay? And it's via live video in either a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion, okay? And the one-to-one would be, I've been picking on David today, so I'm going to continue to pick on him. I hit David's Instagram page and I see a couple of his pieces and I'm like, whoa, these are interesting. I send him a direct message on Instagram and I say, David, I'd like to see some of your pieces and get to know you. Let me know what you have in your inventory. I'm curious about your inspiration on a few of these. And David said, no problem, Patrick. Let me set up a Zoom call and you and I can jump in on one and I'll talk about it, right? And so David does that, with the phone, however we want to do it. He and I are chatting via video. I'm getting to know him. He's merchandising his pieces. He's showing me what his inspiration was, holding them up, and it gets the sale across the line, okay? It is as effective in the one-to-one fashion as it is in the one-to-many fashion. And the one-to-many fashion is mega, mega fascinating. Live art shows run from your house, stream to the social media platforms. It's not sharing my screen. Sorry, guys. Hold on. In either, in any which way you can do it. Now, that is one funny Facebook avatar. Did you see that? I'm not even going to let that come back up. Anyway, this is a customer, Matthew Laka. He's been a longtime friend of the company, and we've run a bunch of different case studies together over the years, and this is a basement sale. And this particular one is live on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and his personal Facebook page. In this one, over a 2-day period, or a 15-day period, he ran 2 of these sales. He sold a little bit over $30,000 Canadian, and it ended up being 62 different pieces. And he didn't have to leave his house, and he kept 100% of the revenue from those sales because he sold them direct. And this is utterly, totally, and completely the future for how to sell art and photography. And so one of the things that we do, that I hang my hat on, that we're better than anyone else, not because we're particularly good at what we do, we are, but because we're working exclusively just on how to do these things on a day in, day out basis, is understanding how to run a live art show, what the mechanics look like of running a live art show, okay? And as soon as we got that great success with Matthew Laka, we were instantaneously into our next attempts. And this particular lady here is a painter from Kansas City, and she was moving out of one studio into another. And so she had a number of different pieces, color studies and the like. And this was the gal that I mentioned. There was 80 pieces in this show, and she ended up selling, I think, 72 of them. For a little bit over $14,000 US, and her collectors bought 46% of them. Since then, we just run one after another, after another, after another. We're running them with photographers. We're running them with artists with different subject matter materials. And, in addition to us doing this, it turns out we're not the only ones trying to figure this out. The whole entire rest of the art selling world is trying to figure this out. The whole rest of the e-commerce world. I haven't even seen this one. Who's this one? Oh, yeah, Kim Wimberries. So this is the future of selling art, full stop. If we go to the very top of the market, yours is not an industry that has a tremendous amount of reports. This is one that we like. It's called the Art Market 2021. It's by Art Basel and UBS Global. And, the disclaimer in this particular report, I'm going to send you the link. I want you to check it out after the fact. But the disclaimer in this is that these guys really only survey the top 5% of the art market. It's a very small amount, really people that are making over $100,000 a year or more, essentially. The thing's loading. Hold on. I actually want to read the table of contents. Just bear with me. Great report though. In it, just the table of contents, the global art market in 2020, dealer sales, auction sales, art fairs, online sales, global wealth, economic impact, and conclusions. And really, the takeaway from that particular report is they're trying to figure this whole thing out as well. How do you sell art or photography via live video in one-to-one or one-to-many fashion, okay? And it really doesn't matter if you are starting at the very bottom of the pyramid, you've never sold a thing. This is something that you can avail yourself of. It works incredibly effectively well. Or if you're the top selling artist, and again in this report it talks about, they have stats about what they call HNWs, high net worth individuals, buying an extreme amount of art over the course of the pandemic because they couldn't meet with the artist or fly to the gallery in person. So it's a big one. The entire art selling world is trying to figure it out all at once. Finish the pyramid off. Top of the pyramid is everything else. Let's assume that you have a retail gallery and it's going well. Fantastic. Keep it going. But it's in addition to working on attention. It's in addition to building a collector list and understanding the business model. It's in addition to the 3 ways of selling art. So too, if you're doing the fairs and shows. So too, if you've got an online marketplace working for you, Etsy, Redbubble, Fine Art America, Saatchi, I don't care what, all of them in addition at the very top, right? Those are all revenue sources. That's all fantastic. I don't want you to lose any of those, but that's the pyramid. And the difference between running the pyramid and understanding the pyramid and not, in my estimation, is really stacking the deck towards success. And it's where you see the successful artist, and it's really not even close. And as a final, I'll say, in terms of perspective, again, I've been doing this a long time now, talked to a lot of artists, studied all of their data. Understand how much time every single solitary person on this call has to get this particular thing right. You have the rest of your lives. Artists do not change careers midway through. It might move from a hobby to a more serious business back to a hobby, but you never stop creating. You're never going to stop being artists. And if you didn't get this right and you don't have a collector list and you had gallery relationships that all of a sudden are gone, or you relied on the show and fair circuit, there's time to fix this. You've got the time. You have plenty of time to fix this. So it's just about understanding the model and realizing that you run this and no one can take it away from you. You are in complete control of your own destiny. You can constantly be marketing. If the Delta variant or whatever variant of this dumpster fire of a virus comes back, you can continue selling, okay? Because you have people to sell to, right? So, it's fundamental. It's fundamental. And I honestly, I feel like a snot-nosed punk sometimes saying it, because the analogy I have in my head is people are coming on this call that have been painting or photographing for 20, 30, 40 years. They're at the top of their craft, okay? And the analogy that I always come up with, it's like they're the executive in the floor-to-ceiling windows, biggest office, huge wood desk, leather chair, and I come in and they're like, Patrick, I'm having issues with my art business. What can you do? I'm like, get out of the chair and go back to the mailroom. You're going to have to push the cart around for a couple of years. That's hard advice to give. Nobody wants to do that when they're older, right? Like I'm 42 and I don't want to go back and doing what I was doing when I was 20. I don't have the energy for it anymore. My kids are driving me nuts. But guess what? That's the world that we live in now, okay? That is the world that we live in. If you understand this set of circumstances, if you understand that pyramid and you start working on your marketing consistently, you stand the best shot, the best odds, the deck stacked in your favor to build a business, a successful art or photography business that will continue to be successful and continue to grow, in which you control the rules. You're not incumbent to whether or not there's a show or fair circuit, or whether or not a gallery's got you in the prominent spot or not at all. So that's my rant. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Bettina, I want to see you turn your camera, by the way. I got a view of that piece behind you and it looked awesome. Well, let's see if she can. You guys got to look at Bettina's screen. Is she looking at it? I can't tell. Oh yeah. Oh, that looks pretty amazing. You got skills. You got skills for sure. Yeah, my one buddy I showed you is like a really, really good portrait guy, which is why I wanted to look at it. Anyway, thus concludes my probably ran too long presentation. So what we'll do is we'll open it up to questions here. Couple of different ways that we can do the question thing. If you're one of the brave ones, like these folks, that has their camera on and you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand. We'll see it. Unmute your mic, and then you can ask whatever question you like. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on. I hate being on video. Aside from these brave folks, you can ask via audio. All good. There is a reactions button somewhere over here or over there in the Zoom window. And if you click that, what that lets you to do is raise your hand. You can kind of see how I'm doing it right now in the participants window. If you do that, that lets me know, hey, you've got a question, and that kind of forms a queue. We can go through that way. You can certainly leave questions in the chat as it rolls along. We can answer those. For those that are watching on the various different socials, I can pull those things in too. So if you're watching on Facebook, you have a question, or you're watching on Twitter, or you're watching on YouTube, and you're like, hey, I've got a question, feel free to leave a comment, and we can get right into it. So I'm going to start off with Chuck. Go ahead, Chuck. And somehow, Chuck, when I saw your name on there, I was like, I don't think this is Abby King, but I'm not going to say anything in today's cancel culture.
That's all right. I would answer to Abby as well. So, I'm representing my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I've been cycling her photos. If we've been here, I've been cycling through as my backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been encouraging her to sell her artwork,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I'm just going to ask for a poll from the group. I mean, would you buy this?
Can't do it that way.
I think she does extraordinary
you can't do it that way, Abby. And it's not because I won't let you or because you can't do it. But what people fundamentally do all the time, okay, is they say, people have been telling me for years and years and years my work is great and I want to sell it. I got into a juried art show and I want to sell it. I posted it on Instagram when I got 10,000 likes, but I want to sell it. My mom and dad tell me the work is incredible, right? Or any variation thereof. If I went and picked you up right now, Chuck, and I drove you to the local ATM machine, there is no button on the ATM machine for likes. There's no button on the ATM machine for comments. There's no button on the ATM machine for everyone's told me they're going to purchase my art. There is none of those. No one can tell you. Only the market can tell you. So I understand the step that you're taking, and I've taken it before myself. It's a waste of time. What you need to do is you need to get the photographs printed. You need to get the photographs in front of eyeballs. And the only one that can tell you whether or not that work will sell is when a credit card comes out of a wallet and it goes through your machine. That's it. That's it. Or cash exchange hands. It is a fool's errand to ask anyone because people are fundamentally decent and they'll tell you it's wonderful. The only thing that can tell you whether or not it'll sell is when a credit card comes out of a wallet. That's it.
Well, that's why I'm on this Zoom.
Yeah, I'm saving you time. And you can, what you can do,
not quite sure I got an answer, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, okay. What you can do, let's just take would anyone on this call buy the work? And someone said, oh, it's wonderful work. Great. Make me an offer. And then they say, well, I don't know if I'm ready. No, just make me an offer right now. What would you be willing to pay for this? I'm ready to take cash. I'm ready to take PayPal. I'm ready to take Venmo. I can deliver it to your house. Make me an offer. That's how far you need to take it. You need to actually attempt to sell it. And the point I'm making is only the market can tell you, right? Like no one else can tell you. Only the market can tell you.
So the point of me looking at your service is to see if it's viable to submit artwork to sell through your service.
No,
I suppose that's the question I should have asked.
Yeah, we're not a marketplace, and so what you're sort of asking me is, can I just upload my work here and you guys sell it for us? That's not what we do. We offer, individual websites, and the artist owns the website, owns the marketing, owns everything, and we just teach them how to do that, right?
I sat through your initial presentation.
Yeah.
So I know what it is.
Mm-hmm. So what let me answer it this way. What I think.
So what it sounds like you're asking me to do is to go through your service and take a step of faith.
No, it's absolutely not what I'm asking you to do. I'm actively telling you, do not do that. What you need to do is get that art in front of some eyeballs, some strangers.
Oh, we've already done that.
Did it sell?
Yeah.
It did. Okay. So
one printed on canvas, one printed on metal.
And was it to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends?
Well, that's no. So yeah, you're straying into what you were saying before.
Yeah. And that's okay. So what I would do if I were in your shoes is the subject material pretty much all over the board? Or do you have like a niche?
Pretty much. She does. A lot of it's mostly landscape, but then there's also objects. This is a sea anemone.
Yeah.
Behind me.
Yeah.
So.
And that's totally okay, right? So what you want to do, and I can give you a great analogy for this after the fact, but I'll just tell you exactly what I want you to do. You don't know what you don't know, meaning you don't know out of this vast collection of your wife's photographs what are going to be the best sellers, and that's okay. Go through the collection and pick out 7 to 10, at most 15 images, okay? Go and get the 7 to 10 to 15 images printed locally as quickly as possible, or I can give you a link, and I want to just show you in terms of sizes. So hold on.
Yeah, most of these are going to be fairly small because she doesn't use a professional digital camera. I think they're going to be probably 10 by 12, 12 by 18,
Done.
probably
Done.
at the most.
Bathroom art, right? Here's a beautiful metal print, right? Here
Exactly.
is a beautiful acrylic print, right? Like in terms of the sizes, it's small. All you need is about $200 in samples, and this is a paper print. It's framed. This is a canvas print. And you set up a little booth somewhere at a local fair, a local show, anywhere you can. I mean, if you want to, it can be in the church parking lot, or it can be on an active street corner. And say you're having an art print sale, and have the pieces there and get some eyeballs on it. I mean, again, the easiest way to do this is like at a fair or a show or a swap meet or a farmer's market, right? Or anywhere that you could potentially get a booth, and see if you can sell to strangers. That's it. Have the pieces in the store, and what you do is, it'll be very inexpensive for you to get the pieces and the pricing from your local printer. Mark the prices up 250%, and then be willing to negotiate. And that's what you do. And like sort of the analogy that I give and where everybody fails, and let me give you the real succinct. You want to be a restaurateur. I want to be a restaurateur. We always have been. And we both go about it a different way. I immediately sign up for Art Storefronts, spend all this time building the website, go and get a business license, go and get a bank account, work out all the rest of my marketing, get everything dialed in, all of which takes me 6 months, right? Or a year, let's just say, or 3 months, whatever it takes me. I kind of went from restaurateur to Art Storefronts, switching gears today. I'm a little out of it. But let's just state it another way. I went and got a business plan. Then I took the business plan down to the bank, and then I got it approved, and that took me 3 months. Then I went and leased a space. Then I went and leased all the restaurant equipment. Then I went and set up the menus and hired the maitre d' and everything else, and then I opened the restaurant a year later, let's say. And you know what I found out? Nobody wants to eat my food. I found out that people came in, and they were nice, but they didn't come back. And I've wasted a year of my life with all of this admin stuff that I didn't need to do to figure out the particular food that I was working didn't do. You know what you did? You went to Costco, you went and got a rolling cart, you made your tacos all night, you put them on the cart, and 11 o'clock the next day, you marched it right into an office building. And guess what? Your tacos were a hit, and everyone's in line and buying them, and they're like, Chuck, I need you to come back tomorrow. That was an incredible lunch. Now you know you have a product that the market wants and that you can sell, right? And it's never a condemnation of the artist. It could be just whatever dish you were making, whatever dish I was making in my restaurant, they don't want. Okay, if my tacos didn't work, the next day I'm going to switch to burgers, and maybe that's what works, right? The point is you need to get the data point from the actual crowd that tells you you have a product the market wants. Once you do, then you're ready to sign up. Then you're ready to go full guns blazing. Never take the leap of faith. That's what I'm saying.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got a link to, I'm in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh my gosh. You have so many opportunities now that it's opening back up. Crazy amount of opportunities.
Yeah. So if you've got a link to any local, I had to go through printer picks or something like that. I don't want to do that again.
No,
I'd rather find a local.
Yeah, what I recommend you use is Bay Photo, which is pretty close to you in your neck of the woods, and their pricing is really, really good. April, you can put the link in the chat, or we have one of our own internal called ASF Prints, which are going to get the same pricing, but it might make more sense for you to use your local. But don't feel like you need to spend a lot of money. Okay, just get the 5 different media types, pick a fine art paper, get canvas, get metal, get acrylic. And you could probably do wood, or you could even do without wood. But the idea is that, and make each one a different image. Show the media types. Oh, you like this image? We can actually do this image on canvas, on metal, on wood. Here are the prices. Boom. It's literally that simple. And you can do it, where you are, because there's so many bodies there. I would 100% recommend you do it in person. But even when you can't do it in person, you can do it with a phone and the samples that I just had in my hand by going live on your socials.
Sounds good.
And let me tell you, if it works and those things start selling, you want to talk about the top off on the emotional gas tank that your wife will get, which will be motivation. It's glorious. It's glorious. You get a couple of sales to strangers, and the next thing you know, you are fired up on all cylinders. So that's my advice.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Good questions. Okay, it's going to go LG Stylo 6. You'll have to tell me what your name is, and then Bettina. Go ahead. LG Stylo 6. You'll have to tell me what your name is. You can unmute. Are you there, LG Stylo 6? Sometimes when you sign in. Yep, there we go. Gotcha.
That's me.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Good. What's your name?
Reggie.
Hey, Reggie. I think well, yeah, we've talked before, haven't we?
Yeah, we've talked plenty of times. I'm getting there,
Love
and
it.
I just need your help.
Yeah.
Okay? Couple of questions today.
Mm-hmm.
I navigated through one of your sites that y'all had.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
And my opinion was there were too many choices
Mm-hmm.
for people to make. It was even confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a new art buyer, he doesn't know, the prints, the all that thing. Is that good thing or bad thing?
That's the beauty of having data, Reggie. We've already figured this one out. We've already solved it conclusively, and we already know. You're making assumptions, but you haven't run hundreds of thousands of art buyers and hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars of transactions through it. We have. So we've already settled. It's settled science. It works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell me about this login thing on the our website?
Yeah, so your customers have the ability to log in, like you do at any e-commerce site, and check on their order status and history and see all that kinds of stuff. That's what that is.
All right. Now, do we get any of the prices in the framing?
What do you mean? Do you get any of the prices? I don't understand.
On one of the sites, they asked to frame,
Mm-hmm.
and then they added another $50 to the print.
Yeah.
For the framing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we get part of that margin, or
Yeah, of course. So Reggie, everything. So we are partnered with certain printers and / frame shops. I mean, they're all one and the same, right? And you get wholesale pricing from those institutions, and then you set the prices to your liking, right? So you'll know what the various different frame costs are, and then you mark them up as you see fit, and the markup is all yours, and then all the rest just goes to the print shop.
Okay. Last question. I want to take any time.
No problem.
Your colleague Joseph kind of threw it out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain a little bit further?
Okay.
Art Store gets 15% of each print, which I understand it, not mad with it.
Mm-hmm.
For me to explain it to the artist, what is we're paying the 15% for? Like if I pay Amazon, I know it's call out fee, FBA fee, and all that thing.
Yep.
What am I paying Art Store the 15%?
Yep, and I should say too, there's different plans and tiers, and so I think it's 15% at the top and 5% at the bottom. The easiest way I can explain it is what we realized as a business is you guys don't have website problems, you have marketing problems. Meaning, you could move your business, Reggie, from one website to another website to another website, and nothing would ever change because that's not the issue. You don't have a website problem, you have a marketing problem, right? And so if we want successful customers and to have a successful business, what we need to do is we need to teach our customers how to market themselves. And in order to teach our customers to market themselves, we need to do a whole bunch of different things. And so what we do is we give you a calendar that tells you what to do 365 days a year, when to have the sale, what language to use in the sale, how to post on Facebook, how to post on Instagram, how to run a live art show, all the technology to do that, step-by-step video tutorials, all of that in the calendar all year long. Then in addition to that, we have sessions like this internally with our customers and members of our marketing staff, Tuesdays, Thursdays, week in, week out, pretty much 50 weeks a year, in which we explain the things that are going on in the calendar, teach you how to do the various different things, and then open it up for Q&A. Then we have courses. I mean, we have essentially what we call the Art Business University, which is like a full-blown, I'm pulling it up, so hold on, I'll show you. Essentially what I'm saying, though, is that those fees go to teaching you, the customer, how to market themselves for life in perpetuity, right? And this is all the type of stuff that you would see on a demo, but I can just show you some of the courses that we have in here. Here's your how-to guide to running a basement sale, which is a live art show. Steps to pandemic marketing, understanding your metrics, best way to showcase your website's augmented reality, winning tactics for web design, and on and on and on. We have like over 60 courses in here now, and some of them are from top-selling artists, and some of them are about shipping, and some of them are about pricing, and some of them are about markups. And it just keeps going and going and going. So collectively, you're essentially paying those transaction fees to be in an Art Business University, and an Art Business University that there's no graduates because the learning never ends, right? Like an in-depth guide to how to photograph your artwork, and on and on and on. Like there's just it's the secret sauce of what we do. So that's what you're paying for, Reggie. And we believe fundamentally that's the most important thing. Like if we want successful customers that are growing their businesses, then they need constant marketing education, and that need will never stop.
Okay, let me kind of sneak one more in there. Last question.
Yeah.
All right. When we put the print on the site,
Yes.
I'm asking my artist to title it.
Yes.
Now, who then codes it, and how do y'all handle accounting, tracking the sales of? Well, I got artists got 10 prints out there. Which print sells and how much they sold that month?
Yeah, the software tracks absolutely all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, gives you spreadsheets, lets you export and everything else. So it sounds like, Reggie, you're trying to be an art gallery. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to be an art gallery.
Yeah. The system takes care. The system takes care of all of it. It gives you a file that you can export into QuickBooks if you're so inclined and want to do your accounting that way, or it gives you spreadsheets if you want to download it and look at it that way. Everything runs through the system, so the transparency on the artist side is super easy. You can send them reports weekly or monthly or however you feel like it.
All right, that's great. That tells me QuickBooks or something like that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I enjoy you.
No problem, Reggie. I enjoy you too. You come back anytime you ask any questions you need. I'm here for you. All right. Okay. Rolling along. What about anyone else? Questions? Okay, I got you, Janice. You're up next. Janice, go ahead. I'll let you know when you get the mic. Yeah, Bettina lowered her hand. I can't tell, Bettina, if you still have a question or not because you lowered your hand. Janice, you still need to hit the mic icon. It's in like the bottom left-hand corner. And then I'll get you right next, Bettina.
Is that
Yep.
on now?
Yep, gotcha.
I'm just curious about pricing.
Yes.
You were showing us these wonderful artists that made a lot of money by displaying all their art.
Yes.
Do you have statistics that show a pricing range that they're hitting that would make them a successful?
Yeah. So, again, I say I've been doing this a long time, so I can't answer that question. The reason I can't answer that question is because underpinning the question is a flawed premise. And the premise is that there's some sort of magical formula that works for every artist. And the various different ways of asking it, if I just knew the pricing and I can set my pricing to that, I'd be successful. Or if I just knew the best-selling media types and I could set it to the best-selling media types. Or if I just knew the number one selling subject material, right? And what's so interesting, the more that you do this, is that every single solitary artist photographer sort of has their own journey. And every single solitary one is different. And I'll give it to you this way, which just blows my mind, because my mind works like your mind does, which is like, where's the formula that I can extract from this, right? And one of the things that we end up doing is we go and pull the entire customer data for the quarter. We do it on a quarterly basis. We see who sold the most. And then we look at their email subscribers, and then we look at their Facebook followers, and then we look at their Instagram followers, and then we look at how many, like we advocate you run a certain amount of sales in a quarter. How many sales did they run, right? How effectively did they run the sales? And then anything else that we can gather from their site. And there is no rhyme or reason out of the whole damn thing. The third instance that I always give is like, we've got a guy, world famous name. Okay, I'm not going to say what niche. 1.3 million followers on Instagram. And then we've got a gal that's got 5,000 followers on Instagram. They have similar email sizes. She outsells him 15 to 1. It's not even close. And it's like, how do you explain that? Right? Like there's no formula to extract, because it assumes that, what you're selling is the same as what someone else is selling. And it's never the case. It is so subjective and different from artist to artist that in some ways it's really flattering, because no one can comparison shop you, right? Like, what you do is completely determined and up to you. And some people's subject matter, resonates better with others. I mean, I'm kind of into photography. I like photography. It's a hobby. There are people that I think that don't even understand framing that somehow are doing incredibly well. And there's no rhyme or reason. It's crazy. It's just how it works. So the real question that you have is, am I pricing myself too high or am I pricing myself too low? I don't know. The good news is, in this business especially, but any business, you always want to ask yourself, is the decision I'm about to make a reversible decision or not? Meaning, if you decide to set your price at X, can you decide tomorrow to set your price to Y? The answer is yes, you can. It's a reversible decision. So don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. Not only that, I mean, I normally say, human being spheres in order: death, taxes for artists and photographers, creating a new website. Number 4, pricing, the 4th biggest sphere you have in your life. In some cases, for some customers, I will, because I have great relationships with them, I will log into their sites at night, change all of the prices up 15, 20% and not tell them, because they're so deathly afraid of doing it themselves. They won't do it. You're like crippled. Like it's like notions of self-worth and like all of this other baggage that gets built in there. And it's like, no, don't worry. You can raise those prices, because guess what? If it's crickets and nothing sells, we'll raise them right back down and no one will even have known. So that's how you approach it. But generally speaking, if you're selling well, raise your prices.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, James. And I also, too, I really like, and Bettina, you're up, so you can unmute. What I really like is pricing higher, because it gives you the ability to drop the price and come lower, right? To negotiate to get the sale over the line. And I see a ton of that. And, you know, one of the things that I get a ton of pushback on sometimes, and sorry, Bettina, I'm ranting, but just give me a second, let me finish it. Discounting my work cheapens it, right? Or, you know, you're going to turn me into a used car salesman, and people told me never to discount my work, because that's not how it works. And I fundamentally look at that and I want to fight every person that ever said that, because they are so full of it, or they're so serving self-serving needs. The only 2 brands that I'm aware of that don't run sales, i.e. discounts, are Tiffany's and Louis Vuitton. Okay. In a true turn of irony, those 2 companies are merging right now. So that's going to be the only one I know that doesn't discount. That's number 1. Number 2, the minute that you start jumping up into the high net worth sales ticket items, let's just say above 25,000, the sheer amount of negotiation that goes on to those pieces is staggering. Okay. It turns out high net worth individuals, aside from the ones in the inheritance business, they did not get that way by paying retail for anything ever, right? And so I've seen multiple pieces that are in like the over 100,000 price range sell, except they're getting $30,000 or $40,000 knocked off of them, because that's the only way it's going to move, right? So when you price a little bit higher, you set yourself up to negotiate. Like, Janice, I like this piece. $1,000 is a little bit out of my range. And so you go, Patrick, okay, you really like this piece, and, you know, if I sold it to you for $750, could you afford it? And would you take it today? Right? And you always wanted to sell it for $750, but you priced it at $1,000 just so you could make me feel good and come down to $750. And that's just how the world works. It's incentive to get human beings to take action. So that's what I would say. Okay, Bettina, go ahead.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi.
It's actually the first time, and I don't know too much about Art Storefronts.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my questions were answered through what you have been, your answers to somebody else's questions.
Wonderful.
So basically, through Art Storefronts, an outsourcing consultant marketing team. That's what it is?
Yeah. So you own the website, you own the URL, you own the email list, you own the customer data, right? Which all my aforementioned points about how important that is. And then you're responsible for marketing the business. What we do is we teach you how to do that. And it's effectively like being in class for life. You know, the sessions never stop. We're constantly teaching you how to do it. Like, you know,
so if I have my website already done, basically we go through it and we'll just
you get
kind of optimize everything, or
you get a new one through us. You get a new one through us. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Same with the Facebook group, the Instagram account. Everything has to be new.
No, not at all. Not at all. If you have those accounts already, we just teach you how to optimize them and how best to use them. Yeah. And Sue's asking you use your own URL. Like, we believe that the artist absolutely fundamentally has to own everything, right? Because that's the only way that you're going to be able to build a sustainable business. And so, you know, in order for that to take place, yes, of course, you've got to do the work. And yes, of course, we've got to teach you how to do it. So we literally teach you how to do everything all year long: how to run a sale, how to email your email list, how to gather more emails, how to post on Facebook, how to post on Instagram, how to announce a sale, tease a sale, such that the sale email dovetails with the Facebook post, dovetails with the Instagram post, how frequent you can do that, all of these various different things. Like, you essentially all have to go to school for marketing. It's the only way it works.
Yes, definitely. That's the part I need. I mean, I come from the business side, and I just started painting 3 months ago, and I'm like, gosh, I don't want to go and reinvent the wheel on the marketing side for this particular market.
No,
somebody has to do it, and somebody I'm looking for that.
Yes.
Somebody who has the formula. I know there is a lot of many pieces and involved, and I just don't have the heart right now to do it, but I need to do it.
Yes.
Following it, basically, if I can follow somebody's script, which is your script,
yes,
better for me.
Yes.
I don't want to diminish, and for me to understand the art market, it will be what is the difference between offering my original through with that original being maybe, I don't know, make it for a print, and that will be my bottom line sales, and my original will be my higher end sales.
Yes.
All that part is something that I can go through in details with you guys when we do the one-on-one.
Oh yeah, we teach you all that. Yep, we teach you all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. What about and that would be, of course, can be an international market with the prints, or it's only
it's 100% an international market with all of it. To be honest, I mean that's one of the incredible things about it. Now that's not to say that you'll instantaneously obtain international success. We have some people that just rock local markets. We have some people that rock domestic. But you truly can, And I don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to paint a rosy picture. Okay, the first year or two while you're learning the digital market is challenging. It sucks. You're gonna pull your hair out of your head. You don't naturally want to do it. There's a reason artists and photographers are terrible at doing this. Nobody does it. Nobody wants to do it. But guess what? The thing that no one wants to do is the highest ROI thing you can be doing, right? But I go back to. And this is not a sales pitch or like hyperbole, but I go back to, hold on, I'm going to pull it up so I can show you. And by the way, this guy you should check him out because I know you're a very good portrait artist, and he is a psycho good portrait artist, like amazing some of the things that he did. But he ran these 2 sales. I'll go back to it, right? And this is not his recent stuff. This is like stuff from 15 years ago that he did, right? It was like sitting in his basement.
Yeah.
But he finished this sale, okay, and it was 62 pieces, like I said, or 30,000 Canadian, 62 pieces. And after it was, I'm not even showing you. God. After the sale was done, so he lives up in Quebec in Canada. He had to ship multiple pieces in Canada. He had to ship multiple pieces in the United States. He had to ship a few into, I believe, Mexico and Central America, a couple in Europe, and one in Asia. And that was just on the one sale, right? And so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I look at that, and it's like, independent of whether like a sales pitch or ever signing up for us, like, what an amazing world you guys have. It's not so easy to start some sort of business where you are 100% capable of creating whatever the widget is. You're not going down and getting an injection molding or waiting for a prototype from a factory. You can create the thing. You can reproduce the thing inexpensively, and you can ship the thing around the world. And I see situations like that where it's being proven. Like, it's happening right now, like a truly international business. Again, you still have to do the marketing, which sucks, but the international business part is awesome. Right?
No, I'm asking because I do have I do have customers in South America.
Yeah.
But I outsourcing some parts out there, and I'm just trying to figure it out if what you going through what you guys have to offer, my costs can be optimized.
Yes.
Basically on that. Right now I have somebody doing the sales for me. Which honestly, I was in sales for a long time. I don't want to do the sales. I'm tired. I want to paint.
Yes, you and every other single solitary artist in the history of artists. No one wants to do the sales.
I left IT and finance, fintech for a reason. I don't want to go into KPIs anymore. I don't want to do that. I did my own website and all this stuff, but it's fine. But I'm like, I need to. If I want to make this work, I need to produce.
Yes.
And like you said before, definitely. I mean, this is the change from corporate to do something that I love. That is not going to stop. It's going to be my life until I die. I don't even retire because this is what I'm going to do.
The rest of your life. Yeah.
So finding the formula is important because that's what it's going to sustain.
Yes.
Basically for a long term. And marketing is going to change because the world changed and things change and people change and everything changed. But if we have somebody behind,
yes,
that's good.
And just to give you like a for instance, like the marketing changes so fast. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
that by the
definitely.
time we create the course on how to do whatever, and I'm sort of multitasking you here because I want to show you. I love bragging about my buddy how good this guy is. I want to show you one of his portraits. But by the time that the course is done,
I love it.
by the time the course is done, it's already out of date, right? Like they've already changed a bunch of things. It's like that conundrum where you're trying to teach. Isn't that guy talented? I mean, crazy.
Oh,
good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, crazy
I
good
love
portraits. By the, it's like, well, somebody asked me the other day, well, like, should I go and get like, a degree in marketing? And I'm like, to be honest with you, by the time, it's not even by the time the textbook is printed. It's like by the time that whoever wrote the marketing textbook is editing portions of it, all of that has changed, right? Like now the fundamentals never change, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need the latest and greatest, and it's the biggest unfair advantage that we have as a company.
Well, I need somebody who likes marketing, and that's not me.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So I'm doing something else. So from here, how do I get an appointment with you guys to go one-on-one on the details and all the?
There's links in the there's links in the chat. April put one in there that you can click that says request a demo.
Okay.
You can click that. You fill out a little form, and then they call you, and then they go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bettina. Good questions. I feel like I'm ranting today, but I get going sometimes during the week. All right, what else, guys? Questions? Anyone? I can only pick on the ones that have their cameras on, so that means I got to pick on Eric, and I got to pick on Chris here, and Ronald, who's doing some lovely lake living. Sue, you guys have any questions? Felicia? Yeah, okay, Sue, I got you. You'll need to unmute. Yeah, it's in the bottom. Yeah, you got it.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm new to this form of marketing.
Yeah.
And as a photographer, there's so much content out there.
Yes.
That, it's like kind of overwhelming. How do you stand out in them? How do you get yourself to stand out in this marketplace? Because there's.
That's a fantastic question. It's a fantastic question. Yeah. Stated another way, like, and I'm going to give you like a quick and succinct example, and then I'm going to give you a more in-depth example. Do you have an active Instagram account, just out of curiosity?
Not terribly active. I more am on Facebook than Instagram,
okay.
Although I do some Instagram.
It's okay. I was gonna
my problem. So many of my pieces are more landscape oriented, and I don't like the square format.
Yeah.
But I know that I haven't learned how to make it so that there can be rectangular. So
yeah, it's okay. So I'm going to show you this woman behind me, right? And her name's Carol Walker, and she is a wild horse photographer, right? She goes.
I do that as well.
Yeah. Oh, you do that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. What are the odds of that? And yeah, great customer, great friend, and so we've been working with her and contemplate the difference between these two scenarios. Here's a picture of a horse. I'm posting it on my Instagram, I'm posting it on my Facebook. Maybe I give the horse a name. That's awesome. And that's it, right? Does it sell or not? I don't know. It's just a picture of a horse. There's a lot of pictures of horses. So when she tells the story, though, of the fact that this particular horse is named Zeus and it lives on the such and such reservation and it's been the wild horse there for 15 years and the BLM is currently trying to eradicate the wild horses from this land and we need to do things to fight this and that has two foals and here are the two foals and it loves jumping and kicking here, then the picture starts selling. And the takeaway from that is it's twofold. One, in terms of the work, you need to include story in what you do. That's what sets a JPEG apart. Also, you're part of the brand as much as the work is. Everybody wants to hide behind the cameras, photographers especially, and sadly, in today's day and age, you got to be in front of it, okay? And let me just tell you, I hate being on video, okay? Prior to the pandemic, I was never on video once. I had a podcast. I did audio, which is much more comfortable for me. But guess what? I'm contrarian enough to understand in the world that we live in today, video is just far more effective than anything else. And so my ugly face is staring back at yours right now, right? Staring back at your lovely face. So, and the contrast is sharp. So you're as much a part of the brand as anything else. So it needs to be pictures of you holding the work, pictures of you merchandising the work, not just 2D image after 2D image after 2D image, which so many people do, and they wonder why their Instagram followings are not growing. It's one of the things that we teach. It's one of the things that we do. But also, too, knowing that you're a photographer and knowing you've talked to hundreds of photographers over the course of your lifetime and knowing none of those photographers are doing any active marketing whatsoever. And even if they are doing any active marketing, they're going to peter out after 3 months and not do it consistently 52 weeks a year over a 5 to 7 year period. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you stand out. No one ever does the marketing. No one ever does it consistently. So part one is just knowing that. Half the battle, you're already in the top 5 percentile, but then you have to do the work. That's what we teach.
All right. Thank you.
What are the odds that you were actually a wild horse photographer though? And that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was just one of those.
Yeah, and I do, documentary portraiture and landscape photography, a little bit of everything.
Awesome. And how do you like what's the revenue source? I mean, do you have a service portion of the business in addition to the fine art?
Mug, and I do commissions for people for equine portraits, or I'll do personal photography, just kind of commission work. But I'm semi-retired, so I don't do a ton of it unless I want to. So, yeah. But I would like to have a little bit more income. I own horses, so I would like my horse art to cover my horse expenses. That would be ideal.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me know who else has questions. In the meantime, I just have to tell one funny story to you, Sue. So my roommate in college played polo. Okay, I went to school down at UCSD. And he went and got this horse from like Bakersfield or something on a trailer off Craigslist for $50. It was like, come pick it up. He ended up training this horse up to be an incredible polo horse. And then the polo grounds ended up repossessing it because he couldn't afford the bill for everything else. So I'm very cognizant of how much horses cost. Was my roundabout way of saying that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We can help you. You should definitely look at the software and get a demo.
Okay. Oh, one other question.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
sorry.
No, please. That's what it's for.
So if I have an existing website for using my business name, and it's under SmugMug, can I use, you don't allow people to upload a ton of pictures, do you? I mean, because sometimes I'm doing a portrait session.
We're not a marketplace. You own everything. The only person that can decide how many pictures to upload is you. You can upload as many as you want.
So is there a physical limit to the number of images that can be put up?
I do think there is, but whatever it is, you're not going to reach it.
Okay, right? Because if I have a client that I do a commission for, and can I have a
private gallery? Yes.
A private gallery, you can do that sort of thing with that. Okay, because then I can upload a whole boatload of things that they may want to look at and things that they like, but personally I may not care for, so that they can make choices off of that.
Yes, all day.
Oh, you can do that. Okay,
all day. And then what's even better is that, like, I get so infuriated by service-based photographers, and mainly one of my best friend's wives, because she's the normal portrait photographer for all of us. Meaning she like picks her spot and does the Easter photo and does the Christmas card photo, and then she does like a Halloween one. She does like 4 times a year where all of my friends go and use her, right? And what is she doing? She's nailed her location. She's nailed her time of day. She's nailed her light. She's nailed her retouching. We all get these incredible photos that we love. And then what happens? A digital download. And then I have to go take it and get prints myself. I don't want to go get prints myself. Why can't I just order the doggone print? Number one. Number two, why can't you email me before Christmas every year and say, Patrick, your wife told me you were a terrible Christmas shopper, which I am. Here's the photos you had of your kids over the years. You can order them. They're still in the gallery. They're ready to go, right? And, while you're shooting, I want you to take with you those 5 sample prints that I had before, because no one knows what they look like. No one knows what an acrylic print looks like. No one knows what a metal print, not the normal consumer. Why aren't you showing them, right? So I love the revenue possibilities for you guys. And, I don't want you don't get me wrong. I've never met a revenue source I don't like, okay? As long as it's legal and, moral. And you have a portion of your business where you're trading dollars to hours, and you have an hourly rate. And so those sessions have an AOV, an average order value, that you're never going to exceed because you can't clone yourself. So when you add in the print revenue, because you've made it easier, you removed the friction to your potential customers to buy prints, not just this year, but in perpetuity, all of a sudden the AOV, the average order value of your sessions, goes up. You're making more out of the same period of time. And there are so many photographers that don't do that. And I get so mad at my buddy's wife because I'm like, what happens? I have to truck my kids down there with my wife. I'm sat there on this little bluff above the ocean where I live. And my wife is over there shaking a stuffed animal or whatever, trying to get my kids to smile. Okay. And what am I doing? I'm in the background just going, kill me now, get me out of here. Looking at my phone. What could I be doing? Your assistant could be there with a big table and stands in which here sits a piece of canvas, here sits a piece of acrylic, here sits a piece of metal. Hey, Patrick, just to let you know, we're having a shoot special, and you can get any prints ordered today. Here's what they look like. We have a nice $275 intro package up to $1,000. If you want to order one now, I'll give you 20% off. I would have bought just to get out of there quicker.
I don't sell digital downloads aside from just web size pictures, people might want to put on their social media. I don't sell anything besides prints. So
yep.
So but I like some of the concepts of your marketing and ideas, and kind of forcing myself to get out there and set all that stuff up that I have.
You have to. Yeah.
Do.
Yeah.
So,
you have to.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. And congrats on the semi-retirement. It sounds really nice. Okay, guys. Anyone else? Questions? Oh, yep. I like it, Ronald. I've been wanting to look at this lake background. It looks very calm and relaxing.
Yep, that's the view outside my window.
Oh, that's wonderful. What is the lake?
Lake Arrowhead,
yeah,
California. Yeah,
I've been to your lake quite a few times. I'm actually
great.
Most of the company's based in Austin, but I'm in Southern California actually. So I come up there. I come up there a few times a year. Yeah.
This is a follow-up to Abby's husband, who probably doesn't look like he's here anymore. From the proof of concept, could you share a little bit about the timing of setting up the art storefront versus proof of concept? That may be a question that a few other people may have. How to make that? What's the recommendations on those steps?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want you to sign up until you've done proof of concept. I really don't. I don't want you to. I don't want you wasting a minute of your time, because what if you end up signing up and you find out whatever body of work that you have is not something that will work and you need to go and do something else. I don't want you being a bunch of money into Art Storefronts and being discouraged and quitting the whole thing. I'd rather have you come in guns blazing and being like, oh my gosh, I've got a product the market really wants. I'm ready to start selling it, right? So, in your case, if you've got a bunch of photos, let's just keep it succinct, of Arrowhead, you have a number of venues in Arrowhead and Big Bear that you could potentially set up a booth and see if you could sell it, right? And if you can sell it, you're essentially just proving to yourself you have a product the market wants. Once you've proved to yourself you have a product the market wants, then you have a marketing problem. That's it, right? If you've not proved that you have a product the market wants, and then you're doing a hope and a prayer, and then you start in on active marketing, you could end up really wasting a lot of time, when you could short circuit that whole process by just getting out on the street and actually talking to a human being and getting it in front of them. Now, you don't necessarily need to do that. You could order the prints and do a live video on Facebook or Instagram, like I said, right? Like, hey guys, it's me, Ronald. I've done a ton of contemplation with COVID, and I'm ready to start my photography business. Photography or artist?
Photography.
I'm ready to start my photography business. To celebrate, I'm selling a bunch of my prints discounted. Show them off just like this. Phone on a tripod. I know you've got a tripod. I would normally sell something this for like $550, and I'm trying to take the business off the ground. Help me out. Send me a DM. I take Venmo, PayPal, or I'll deliver if you're in the Arrowhead Big Bear location, right? Or area. Done. Just that simple. So that's the digital version. That's the in-person version.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think we had a playbook. Do we not have a playbook for this, April? I think we do. I'll send it to you after the fact. And it's essentially an art validation sort of step-by-step guide, right? And I think that the restaurant analogy is the best one, right? And restaurants, especially in California where we are, and probably the same case for you, there's this concept of the pop-up restaurant, right? A restaurant that just moves into a space for 2 months to test the concept to see whether or not it'll work before they go outlay these tremendous amounts of capital. The link's right below, Ronald, in the chat. That's the one. Here's the link to our validation strategy. That's the one you want to click. Save that and read that out after the fact. But that's the smart way to do it, right? Like, the smart way to do it is take the product to market and see whether or not it'll sell before you go spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on all these various different things to launch a restaurant, or millions, right? And you find out that the restaurant's not viable. So that's the ball game. And, fundamentally, being an artist or a photographer and selling is about pivoting through different subject matters and materials as you go along. And, one of the stats that I love reading all the time is that Pablo Picasso was He had some weird thing about death. So he never decided to write a will, or wouldn't even talk about a will, or wouldn't even ever talk about himself dying. And when he died, he had 45,000 unsold works in his inventory. 45,000. And everyone's like, wait a minute, this is one of the greatest artists of all time. How could that possibly happen? Even Picasso made some things nobody wanted from time to time. It's by making those things that nobody wanted that he figured out what people really did want and really truly got into the creative thing. Now, after the fact, his name was so big, all of it sold it. I think his heirs were fighting over it forever and ever and ever. But yeah, so the pivoting is a normal part of it too. And, you know, you need to figure that out. And a lot of times too, you know, I'll give a for instance, because it's a good one. He's a photographer, and he's from Minnesota, and he does like cityscapes and bridges, urban stuff around St. Paul, Minneapolis area. And then he's like expanded out, and he was doing okay with that. It wasn't knock your socks off business size, but he was doing pretty okay with it. And he had another passion, it turns out. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to put this up on my site too. And the reason I bring this up, sometimes the subject matter material that you've picked will sell, but it's not mapping to the expectations of the income that you want for your business. And so that's where these pivots come in, right? That's where Picasso and all these various different iterations come in. And turns out this guy has a passion for going to a certain park, and a park you all know the name of that might or might not have something to do with a mouse. He goes in there and he sets up the tripod, and he takes these incredible photos, and now he is selling a massive amount of this stuff, and his business is well over 6 figures a year. And he got his foot in the door with something that was working, decided he wanted to try something else. He tried something else, and it's like, to go from that type of landscapes to go to inside, you know, park mouse thing. I'm not gonna say it. You know, that's a big pivot, right? That's a big shift, but he did it, and he figured it out. You know, how many steps along the way from between now and then, I don't know, but you know, I think it's kind of amazing. Okay, Bettina, I'll get you. Tanya's got a question. I almost forgot because I was ranting. Tanya, why don't you just say it again so that we can go about it?
Hi.
Hi.
Sure. I'm just wondering what the best way would be to hold an online or virtual art show and sale. Yes.
So the best way to do it is whatever's the easiest way to get you to do it, in a word, right? Because everyone, you know, gets bogged down in the technology because you think it's like going to be, we always just take things back to what we know. And what we know is, oh my gosh, this is like a live gallery show. In a live gallery show, I have to do all of this and that and the other. In today's digital land, it costs you absolutely nothing. I want you to grab this. I want you to grab the 3 or 4 works you have behind you. The minute that this Zoom call is over, I want you to grab the phone to whatever app that you have the biggest following on. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, and say, Patrick challenged me to have a live art show today. I'm going to be walking you through 3 pieces. I don't care if you have to tip this little thing up on a tripod, get a significant other in your house to hold it, your kids, whatever you've got to do, and just show me a couple of works and talk about it, then hit save, then post it, then email it to everyone you've got on your list. That simple. It can be done today. And sort of the abstraction is, you know, all of my customers are like, Patrick, I ran my first live art show. It was amazing. I was so nervous. The cat came in and tripped me, and you know, there was noises, and my internet connection was terrible. And my response is always the same. Wonderful. That's fantastic. Guess what? Now go do 1,000 of them. 1,000, because it's the future. We have all of us right now arrived as pilgrims on the east coast of Plymouth Rock, and the idea is head west, right? And no one has a map, and no one knows which way to go unless you speak Indian, right? So, or one of the various different Indian dialects. It's a weird analogy, but it's true. The point is, no one has this whole thing figured out. Everyone's trying to figure it out all at once. And guess what? It's not just art and photography. I don't know if you've noticed, but now there are people on Amazon. You can just basically sign up for Amazon and run your own, essentially, QVC with Amazon products. That's happening right now. You can check it out. Facebook is trying to figure it out in concert, meaning they're partnering up with all like the makeup influencers and giving them an opportunity to do a Facebook Live and having the various different makeups pop up like this, and instantaneously you can buy with whatever credit card you have down on Facebook. The whole entire e-commerce world is attempting to figure it out right now. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need anything other than this, your art, and some bravery.
Okay.
That's
okay,
it.
Good enough. Thanks. I was hoping to get my customers and my email list kind of excited for the pieces that I wanted to hold. So like I'll definitely do it live like you suggested, but I'm just wondering, I was thinking of maybe sending out emails prior.
You should definitely send out emails. I like that idea, but I don't like that idea in your first one because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on you. I want you to just run one right now. Run a flash sale today. Run whatever it takes for you to get one in the water. Go, right? And don't overthink it and don't stress about it, because what's going to happen is if it's your first time doing it, you're going to be terrified. You're going to be off your A game. You might need a strong sedative and or a glass of wine ahead of time. But once you get through it, you're like, that wasn't that bad. I can totally do another one of these. And then after you've done like 3 or 4, then I want you to do the full dog and pony, warm up the list and go and do the whole thing. That would be my advice, but I love where your mind is at in warming up your list. And, that's one of the things that we do. We have a whole playbook. There's a way that you tease it. There's a way that you announce the sale. Then you send the entire sale to your collectors before everyone else gets to see it. And then you run the actual live art show. And then you start promoting it after the fact. And so there's all these steps that make it effective that I know how to do that no one else knows how to do. Not because I'm smart, because we've been doing them for like a month now. I should say 6 months from now, 8 months from now. So we've got a whole bunch of strategies and tactics. But don't take my word for it. Run one. Trust me, you'll be like, he was right. This is the future. What a fundamental premise that we operate under as a business at Art Storefronts is video is essentially just a catalyst to a digital marketing chemical reaction. And let me give you a for instance, right? Like, what is the best way to sell art? Did I hear a Canadian accent? Are you in Canada?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I was in Canada right next to you and we could meet at a coffee shop or I could come to your studio, that's the best way to sell art, because then I get to meet you face to face. We get to know, like, and trust and everything else. Okay. Now let's skip over the live video and say, well, what's the digital one, right? And I see an Instagram post, wonderful, and I ignore it. And then you're running Instagram ads. And so a couple of months later, I come back and I see the Instagram ad and I'm like, ooh, interesting. And then I follow you on Instagram. And then you're having a sale a couple months later, but I'm not ready to buy anything. So I get on your email list and then you're emailing me for the next 2 years. And then finally I buy, right? Like, how long is that? I can't do it. How long is that sales cycle? It's super long. Video is the catalyst for that chemical reaction, right? And everyone thinks the work is just about them. It's not. Everyone wants to know the artist. They want to know what makes you tick. They want to know what your peccadillos are. They want to know that you're from Canada and you have a Canadian accent and all these various different things, right? And so when you have a live art show, instead of you having to post to Instagram 1,000 times and send emails and hope they'll click on them and post on Facebook again, like instantaneously, I'm in your studio. Right? I'm in your living room. It's the next best thing to me being in Canada right next to you, getting to know you. And that's what's so powerful about these things. And, I like the abstractions of how this can go down is just, it is staggering. And again, the entire world's trying to figure it out. And I always cite this guy, and hold on, I'm pulling him up. So I don't know where in Canada you are, but he's in Laval, which is essentially like outside of Quebec. And he had a show scheduled during COVID, right? And so it was in some gallery. I can't remember where it was. It was Toronto or somewhere. Or maybe it was close to him. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But it was during COVID. And they somehow were like, and so let's find out when exactly. So it was July 24th, 2020, right? And everything was pretty much still locked down there for the most part. And so basically a year ago, almost a little bit over a year ago. And what happened? He had the show, 6 people were allowed in with the mask mandate and everything else. And so what happened? The very next day, he's got a glass of wine. And we took it into a live art show, and guess what he did? He's walking through the gallery, talking about the show, introducing, having the speech, showing his pieces. I want to show this to Belinda. See, he's got portrait skills. Or Bettina. I don't know why I called you Belinda. Bettina. And this is the next best thing. It's almost like being in the gallery with him, right? Like, we're walking through. People are leaving comments on YouTube and Facebook, and he's responding to them in real time. And he's got the glass of wine in his hand. And you get to see which pieces have the little red dots next to them that have already sold, right? And the abstractions of this will just, it is so fundamentally powerful. It is the most transformative thing that has happened to how art and photography is sold and will in a long, long, long time. And I'll give you some more trade crap because I'm a nice guy here, Tanya. Okay, nice guy here. It doesn't matter. No one's going to do this. No one ever does it. No one ever takes any action. Notice he's got the things in his ears, right? The things that are in his ears, because this particular thing, the only way that you can stream to Instagram is through this. So the particular things that he has in his ears is connected to his cell phone, and that's allowing him to stream to Instagram. Now, you can also see we have a pretty picture here on YouTube. Not only do we have a pretty picture, but we have little titles and fancy things on the bottom. And so we are using software, which is allowing him to stream simultaneously to YouTube, to his Facebook page and to his personal Facebook page. So those 3 different destinations. So he's live on 4 destinations all at once, all at one time, pulling in comments from all of them. And so there's a ton of different tradecraft to learn in these entire things, right? And guess what? Everyone needs to run thousands of these because you need to figure things out. And with him, we've run a bunch. And I want to show you this one. It's just a final. No one has this all figured out, okay? If you look at this particular one, what do you notice? The quality is terrible. You want to know why the quality is terrible? Because his significant other during the show is upstairs streaming Netflix. You can't have that going on when you're running a live art show. So those are the types of things that you learn, that you only learn, you know, by actually shipping these things and running them and learning. So don't overthink it. Do whatever it takes for you to get one in the water immediately.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
It's been really helpful.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. And then come back and sign up, and we'll teach you all the real tricks, of which there are many. Okay, I'm running out of gas. Oh yeah, Bettina's got. Bettina, always just leave the hand raised up. Always just.
Okay,
leave.
sorry. What you guys are doing, or are you guys start looking at the NFTs world right now?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I mean, I could go into the whole rant on what NFTs are, but I'm just telling you, don't worry about it. You can,
okay.
Yeah, you can ignore it completely.
Sounds good.
They're going to be awesome in the future, though.
Yes.
Yeah. But right now, it's just a shiny object. That's part of what we do is we tell you what the shiny objects are, and instead of just like we all do normally, okay, I've got the shiny object syndrome too. We all just go, ooh, what's that new shiny object? And then instead of doing your marketing, you go and chase this shiny object that everyone said was going to be the next best thing. And then you realize it's not the next best thing. And the next thing you know, you get back to your marketing. We tell you what those things are because unless we see results from somebody, then it's not worth it. Go ahead, Sue. I got you.
Hi.
Hi.
I posted a couple of questions, but I thought since you're getting close to closing, I might just ask.
Yeah, please.
When you were talking about the gentleman that was doing stuff at the park, I'm assuming Disneyland or someplace like that.
Yep.
Were they getting property releases from the park and permission in advance to be able to do all of that?
I'm not telling you that part because it's not my business to say, but he's able to sell them without any repercussions. Yes.
Okay, so property releases, though, do you recommend getting those kinds of things?
Again, you're getting me into the sticky lawyer situation, which I can't do. It's just not my purview to do. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm fundamentally someone in life that sometimes, it's just me personally, you have to have your own personal strategy, that sometimes I think it's easier to beg forgiveness than ask permission. That served me well personally. That's somehow how I go about things. But at the same time, I've also, received notices from lawyers saying, you're in trouble, Patrick. So it goes both ways. You just have to decide case by case.
And then for the, you were telling the other lady to go ahead and just throw out there and get a live sale going right now.
Yeah, today. She's doing it. She's doing it today. Tanya, I want an email. After the fact this afternoon with the live sale posted to her Instagram or Facebook page. I want to see it. Yes.
So do you ever have people practice that in front of your staff? Somebody who's new to this.
We do. We practice it live. It's the best way.
Oh, just kind of throw them into the water and see if they paddle. But rather than do that, do you help them with scripting and those kinds of things?
We do, yeah. I mean, look, I'm gonna send you after this thing is over. I mean, there's a bunch of them in the chat already, a bunch of these videos, and you watch them, and you know what you're gonna find out? Turns out that the vast majority of us are not polished actors. We all mess up all the time. We don't have professional hair and makeup. We have crappy cameras and mics, and everyone's okay with that. Aside from me, I do have some nice ones, I know, but most everyone else, it doesn't matter. You got to just do it, and I know it's terrifying. So more than anything else, what we do is just poke and prod until we get you over the line. Get in there. I mean, like I was doing with Tanya, like you just need to be encouraged to do it. But also one of the interesting things that's been like a fairly significant learning for me as we've gone along in this is there's lots of digital education out there on every subject imaginable, right? The stats on them are really pretty pathetic, meaning the percentage of people that buy a course on how to do whatever, let's just stay on topic, how to run a live art show. 35% of the people that bought the course even finished the course because learning in isolation in a vacuum is like really, really difficult. So one of the interesting things that we do is, and I'll just stitch the whole thing together, we have a sale coming up, okay? And we're encouraging everyone to run a live art show, right? and the sale goes down, and a bunch of people were too scared and they didn't do it. And the next thing you know, we have 6 or 7 customers that are coming on talking about their live art show, and you're seeing them on a Zoom call, and you're like, wait a minute, their background looks just like mine. Their hair looks just like mine. Their outfit looks just like mine, and they got these great results. Doggone it, if they can do it, I can do it, right? And then you're asking them a question directly, and they're like, yeah, I did it. I was terrified. Literally, like, my husband had to buck me up to it. Like, we all just need like a little collective teaching and encouragement. And yeah, I mean, I'm sending you an example or two here. It helps when you have 15 different ones to look at, but it's wonderful. It's almost better not to even do it and just be like, wing it, because then your personality comes out, and guess what? People will find you endearing for it, because that's how this world works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Next steps. So this was the high level, who we are, what we do, what we believe in. You know, if this is your first time here and you're just getting to know us, don't worry about it. But if you're at all interested, if I piqued your interest, I totally recommend the demo process. It's awesome. They'll talk to you. They'll get to know you. They'll get to know your artwork. They'll take you through the whole software. If you like what you see, fantastic. We just extended the summer sale. If not, no worries. They will not call you again, but it'll give you sort of a different insight and perspective, and then you get to see all the bells and whistles of the software and all that. So, yeah. Highly recommend that. We'll send you links after the fact. Everybody tuned in to Tanya's art show. Tanya, what time is it going to be? She's like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. And Joanna, the demo usually runs about an hour to go through all of the various different features and everything else. And they'll kind of tune it up to you. But it's the best way to see the entire thing. Yeah, it's like a good tour. But on that note, guys, thank you very much. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks for spending time. Super fun session. Enjoyed your questions. And yeah, hope to see you on the inside.